So hi, hello and welcome again, Microbehunter here, and today in this video I want to share with you 5 tips based on my experience on how to best grow Daphnia. These are tiny water fleas, how you can best grow them in a mini aquarium, like a jar for example, and how you can best observe them under the microscope. Now these tiny creatures are quite fascinating to watch, and I've found that culturing them at home is a simple and also quite a fun and also rewarding way to explore the microscopic world. And if you have, for example, children at home, or if you're a teacher and educator in a school, then this might also make a very nice project. Now, I first want to explain what Daphnia even are before I dive into the details on how to best culture them. So first of all, they are small freshwater crustaceans, so they're related to the shrimps and the crabs, and you can find them quite often in ponds, lakes, and also slow-moving water in general. They're called water fleas because of the way that they swim. It's a very jerky hopping motion, and that reminds people of fleas. Of course, they're not fleas, and what I love most about them is that they're quite transparent. They have a very transparent body, and so when I observe them under the microscope, then I can see that, for example, their heart is beating. I can see their digestive system in action. Basically, you can even see the food as it moves through the digestive system, and yeah, you can even see that eggs are developing inside. So why would I even culture Daphnia, and why would you want to do that as well? Yeah, why even bother? Well, some people grow them and culture them because they need live food for their aquarium fish. But for me, of course, I don't have aquarium fish, but they're a window into the processes of life, and I like to put them under the microscope. And because they're so transparent, yeah, I can observe quite a lot what's going on inside them. And if you're lucky, and I actually also was lucky once, I can even see them give live birth. And I think it's a pretty incredible moment to witness that, to see the young babies emerging and immediately start swimming around. That's actually one of the reasons why I like to keep them in a jar next to my window. But I would like to now dive in, and I would like to give you a couple of tips here. Now, after you've collected the water from a pond, I recommend that you feed them regularly, but do not overfeed them. And one thing that I've learned from my experiences is that the importance of feeding a small amount of yeast on a regular basis. So I use a tiny pinch of dry yeast, and I simply sprinkle it into the water, and this is gonna be fine for a few days. If I add too much at once, I've also done this before, then the water will turn quite cloudy, and it might be that also bacteria start to multiply very quickly, and this also reduces the oxygen level. So yeah, I've once overfed my culture, and what happens is that the population starts to crash. First they reproduce very quickly, and then they crash, and everything dies off because they don't have enough food. So it's a good idea to add a little bit on a regular basis every couple of days, and not more than necessary, and just make sure that the water always stays relatively clear. So tip number 2, yes, I leave the jar open, and water will evaporate. And when this happens, simply add a little bit of fresh water regularly. If you wait too long, then the concentration of the salts and minerals increases in the jar possibly, and this is actually also not very good. So what I recommend is that as soon as the water level goes down a little bit, then I always keep on adding a little bit of more tap water. Of course, it should not be chlorinated. Sometimes if the water turns cloudy, then this is a sign that there are too many bacteria in there, and then you might carefully want to remove maybe some of the water without pouring out the Daphnia themselves, and then add a little bit of fresh water as well. But generally you do not want to change too much water at once because of the osmotic shock that those creatures are going to receive. So now it's time to observe them under the microscope, and this leads us to tip number 3. They're a little bit difficult to catch, so what I use is a so-called disposable plastic pipette to transfer them into a small petri dish. So first, the pipette has to be made a little bit larger at the tip, because the tip was too narrow. So I simply took some scissors and started to cut off the tip, and this way the opening was wide enough. And essentially I simply tried it with a little bit of trial and error and a little bit of luck. I went with the pipette into the jar and quickly tried to suck up some water. In many cases the Daphnia are too fast and they will quickly escape. but sometimes if you're patient, you're able to transfer a few drops into a petri dish, and from the petri dish, it's actually much easier to transfer them to a microscope slide. This leads us to tip number 4. Yes, I do recommend that you use concave slides. You don't have to, but they make life a little bit easier. Those concave slides, they have a small indentation, and this holds the water securely in the center, and it also gives the Daphnia a little bit space to move, but not too much space. Because when you basically add too much water, then the Daphnia is going to swim around quite a bit, and it's going to be difficult to observe under the microscope. So what I've done is I placed a small drop in the center of the slide and removed any excess water, and this way the Daphnia will stay put, and you can see how they're actually moving around, but they're not able to escape from this place, and they're going to stay in the center here, but you're still able to see them, how they're how their organs are moving. So, and then it's time for to add a little bit of yeast to see the water movement, and that's the tip number 5 here. It's actually one of the fun parts here, because those Daphnia, they create a stream of water, and you can make the stream of water a little bit more visible by adding a little bit of a yeast suspension, by dissolving a tiny amount of yeast in water and then adding a tiny droplet near the Daphnia on the slide. And under the microscope, then you're able to see that those yeast cells, the yeast particles, they're being drawn towards the body of the Daphnia, and they're kind of moving around in a circle because these are the water currents caused by the feeding of the Daphnia. And so I think it's quite fascinating to see how this water is actually flowing, and it also helps us understand better how these tiny creatures are actually responsible for filtering the water and keeping the water bacterial level in the water low. So yeah, these were 5 little tips that I would like to share with you, and from feeding them correctly and also maintaining a culture. It's quite easy to do if you do not overfeed them, and if you kind of keep everything as constant as possible. And I was able to keep those Daphnia actually in this jar for well over a year without a problem. Sometimes the number of Daphnia dropped a little bit too low, so then I added a little bit of more food to kind of get it up to a level again, so you can play around a little bit also with the different types of food. I also added some chlorella algae once, and to give a little bit of variation. So there are plenty of things that you can experiment around with, and instead of keeping fish, I also had a aquarium with fish once, but instead of a full-sized aquarium, those Daphnia are way easier to keep. You do not need any equipment, you do not need any filter system or any air pump or anything like that. It's perfectly fine if you just keep the jar open, but make sure that you do not put the jar into the direct sunlight. I think that's important. I should have also mentioned this earlier, because the direct sunlight will actually increase the temperature of the jar too much, and then the Daphnia are going to die, because in temperature actually drives out the oxygen in the water. It's also not good. Okay, I think I'm just going to leave it at that. Again, I do have a comment section below, and if you have any experiences, please do feel free to share them with the community. Of course, I would also like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. It's always a very important support for the channel. I would like to thank all of the supporters to this channel, and I wish you all the best. Happy microbe hunting as always, and see you around next time. Bye bye.